Hello everybody and welcome in. Sorry about that little noise, that little shake there, but anyways, it is episode number 9. That's a meme. Episode number 9 of this Tim Talks podcast, and for this episode I decided I was going to look at some movies, and maybe my favourite ones ever. Favourite TV shows. I kind of touched on some of my TV shows already, so we'll hop right into the movies first. So I'm going to take a look. They might not be like the most popular or famous movies ever, but there'll be movies that I really liked at some stage and just wanted to talk about. So without further ado, I'm going to stall for a little bit while I set up my disclaimer. Most of these will probably be off Netflix because that's my primary device for watching movies, especially now, of course, in the 2021 without cinemas. For touch wood, we'll get cinemas back soon. But yeah, we're still a little while off that. So until that happens, we're waiting with bated breath. So watch it again. Maybe there'll be something there that'll pop up. It'll be like, yeah, this movie really was quite good, and I want to talk about it. Yeah, so I'm just currently flicking through here. But Netflix offers a lot of good movies. One that I have talked about a good bit, just mentioned it on the off chance, was Good Time. Now, this movie came out in 2017, starring Robert Pattinson, and was basically, I'll just read the little blurb it gives you. After spearheading an ill-fated bank robbery, a man must get his mentally challenged younger brother out of jail while eluding his own capture. So as you can see, that's quite an interesting blur. It's originally what got me into watching this movie. I think this was what first saw Robert Pattinson just sort of projected into a real serious role after obviously his Twilight success. So everyone kind of looked down at him as an actor, and I think this is when he sort of showed that his acting chops and that he can do a lot more than what people could think. The style of this movie is also really cool. It's quite dark, but the colours are quite vibrant, neon colours and stuff like that. It's intense, it's in your face, it's just a really good time, pardon the pun, to watch this movie. It's not your typical movie. Some great music by Uneath Point Never, and just, yeah, it's a really, good vibes in this movie. That's not what I meant to say, but it's a very impactful movie, and a very just a really good movie in my opinion. So I will give that, if I'm going to give a rating to that, because I'm not doing these in particular order, I would say it's a really solid movie. I would say 8 out of 10. It's just a very interesting movie, and it's not something I'm used to watching the whole time. So to have that movie, it's pretty cool, to be honest. The next one on my list is another sort of out there movie. It's called The Peanut Butter Falcon. This one came out in 2019, starring Shia LaBeouf and also Dakota Johnson, as well as this other guy, Zachary Gotsagan, I want to say. I'll just read the blurb now. A man who has Down syndrome runs away to realize his wrestling dreams and sets out for adventure with new friend in tow and caregiver in pursuit. So as you can hear from that blurb, it's pretty cool blurb again. Basically it's this guy Shia LaBeouf, and he's basically taking this guy out of care, and it's pretty funny because it's done in a very comedic way, and I think Shia LaBeouf is sort of that perfect character to play off of, because he's not too serious at most times. He's quite goofy looking and sounding, and he just acts in a very funny way, obviously since Even Stevens, which I thought was a good show back when he was a kid. And I guess there's just a really, really real and really good chemistry with Shia and the character Zachary, which is just, it makes the movie amazing. It's sort of like a road trip type thing. It's a bit out there at times, which I like, but it's all around a really feel good movie that just sort of perks you up. So I think it's a really solid movie. It's not going to go any further. I might watch it again. Might just have a look at my list. There were the two movies I was thinking off the top of my head. Anyways, these are quality movies, I'll try to find something else right now. My list. Yeah, Netflix sometimes doesn't. I love if they actually do show you everything you watched, but you have to search something, and I'm not bothered to. So, but the third one on my list is called Spree. This came out in 2020, and it stars Joe Keery, who was in Stranger Things. Yes, he was. And he basically is this sort of taxi driver. It's basically an Uber. And what he does is he films his whole life or whatever. And he's trying to get fame on the internet. I read the blurb. Thirsting for social media fame that eludes him, a rideshare driver live streams a killing spree from his car in a satirical horror thriller. So it's another one where it's like taken lightly. But basically this guy goes out on a killing spree, a literal killing spree in his taxi in various ways of like, you know, poisoning people, etc. with bottles of water. As he's like, oh, you want this bottle of water for free? Nothing sus about this. And then the person dies or whatever. Actually, I forgot to give my rating to Peanut Butter Falcon. I'll give Peanut Butter Falcon an 8.5. I think it was a really solid movie. But anyways, this movie, he basically is the perfect choice because he's kind of got a nerdy side to him, kind of intensity, but like, yeah, but like sort of geeky intensity. So you can believe him as in his role. He can really play this role really well. This type of character, it's very believable. He's just perfectly cast. I think that's what makes this movie good, because I feel like not many people could pull this off the way he did. Wasn't really talked about a lot this movie, but yeah, it's a really intense, but it can switch between intensity and just sort of pure comedy at times, which I like. And yeah, I just think it's a really fun movie. I would say it's quite exciting. It's probably not the best made movie ever, but it's a good time to watch. And yeah, really goes in a weird way. I'm not sure if I like the ending, but the first couple 30 minutes of the movie are just amazing. So yeah, I'll give this one a 7.5 out of 10. So a solid-ish movie, not as good as the other ones. Right, number 4 on my list. I don't think it's on Netflix, actually. Hold up. I know the actor in it, so I'm just going to search his name. I'm really doing this well, haven't I? One second, it's been removed from Netflix, I believe. Great, that's great to hear. Yeah, I'm just doing nothing at the moment, so sorry guys. This movie is called Captain Fantastic from 2016, and it stars Viggo Mortensen, who's a really solid actor. And this one is basically about, there's a blurb for this, Ben Cash, who's Viggo Mortensen, his wife Leslie, and their 6 children live deep in the wilderness of Washington State. Isolated from society, Ben and Leslie devote their existence to raising their kids, educating them to think critically, training them to be physically fit and athletic, guiding them in the wild without technology, and demonstrating the beauty of coexisting with nature. When Leslie dies suddenly, Ben must take his sheltered offspring into the outside world for the first time. So basically, they're like this sort of wild living family, and I guess sort of you classify them as hippies. And what happens is the wife dies, and this lad is like, okay, I need to bring these people into society for whatever reason. I forget the reason, but anyways, they sort of go on this little road trip, and sort of these weird outcast type people, but they're incredibly smart and like self-sustaining. But like how they interact with like some modern society, sort of a play on that. So I think it's quite clever. The thing that sells this for me is just the wild humor in it, because I think Viggo is really mostly serious actor, but in this movie he the straight acting is kind of funny because, you know, it interacts with the world pretty funnily, but well, and also he's a bit bizarre at times, so that makes it funny as well. Yeah, I think it's a really solid movie. Some really funny moments in this. I don't know who this is directed by. It was directed really well. So you got like 2 phases, like the phase where they're in the wild, and then the phase when they're in society, and you actually feel like certain ways about this movie. Like you feel bad for these kids sometimes, but then you also feel like, oh, these are really well parented kids, but also at the same time very unorthodox at times. So it's a really good movie. I'd give this one a 8.5 as well. I think it was just a really fun movie. So that's my 4th movie on the list, and then number 5. Yeah. So I guess I'll just have a look now. Number 5, and you know what? This one is a really clear choice on this list because I think most of you have probably seen it or at least heard about it. At least it's been memed to death. It's been talked about to death. This movie, it's called Borat. Technically, the full name of this movie is Borat: Cultural Learnings in America for Make Benefit Glorious Nation. In terms of movies that like make you feel good and just have a good time, actually, it's on Disney Plus. I should say that this movie is up there with the best. It's just so funny. Obviously, you know who it is. Sacha Baron Cohen as the main character. And it's a very fun movie because the fact it is basically, it's a documentary, but the thing is, it's this guy who is, so Sacha Baron Cohen is playing a character, right? But everyone else in the movie is real. So he goes into real situations. It's just a really unique premise because he goes around, and it's obviously done to death today, but back in 2006, not so much. He goes around and literally, you know, pretends he's this character. He might go into the subway in America. So he's from Kazakhstan. Claim. So he plays in this Kazakhstani character. Very funny. And he goes to America. He's like pretending to like fit into the society and whatever, from a very sort of traditional backward society. And he's just very funny because, you know, he'll have a suitcase with chickens in it and it'll fall out on the subway and he'll try to kiss people, you know what I mean? Like stuff that obviously doesn't fly in America. He'll just to get their reactions, to get the most mad reaction possible, he'll do the most mad things. So it's really respect to this guy. I don't think anyone else would dare do this until after it. And then of course Jackass came out and, you know, everyone was doing it. These sort of real life, sort of documentary comedy / fly in the wall things. But, you know, he was the first to do it, and so also probably the best to do it because he's so playing this character so well, and just, you know, he's just unfazed, unflappable in this movie. And I really like it. And at the end of the movie, you're like loving this guy, even though he's doing some fucked up shit. You're just like, what a beast, what a guy, what a guy, what a guy. So, yeah, that is another great movie. And I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's probably one of the best movies I've seen recently. It's just proper. If you said, "Oh, do you want to watch this now?" I would be 100% up for it. That's number 5 on this list. Number 6 is a classic movie from 2019. I'm looking at the wrong thing. This classic movie from 2003. God, it's a long time ago. I watched it as a kid a good few times, called School of Rock. Probably my favourite childhood movie. You've probably all heard of it. Anyways, I'll give you a rundown. Musician Dewey Finn gets a job as a 4th grade substitute teacher where he secretly begins teaching his students the finer points of rock and roll. So, yeah, it's starring Jack Black, as you know. He's just hilarious. It's a comedy, but it's for kids. But again, as you're an adult, you can appreciate some of the jokes or whatever. Love those type of movies. I was thinking that with like Modern Family, same thing. But it's another one of those movies where it's like, wow, this is really clever and smart. So I would say this is a great movie to watch. Joan Cusack's in it, which I didn't realize as a kid. That's John Cusack's sister, I believe. Mike White, Sarah Silverman. Yeah, so it's a really good cast of comedians who just sort of pretty much hit the nail on the head with this one. And the best thing about this movie is probably the interactions with the adults and Jack Black, you know, because he's sort of trying to teach this class and he's absolutely mental, and they know he's mental, and they're like, how is he in this job? And you're just sort of like, fair enough, this is stupid. At the same time, so charismatic, he pulls it off by the end of the movie, and he's just hilarious, and he's just, you know, he's a lovable guy, and he may not be the brightest spark ever, sorry Jack Black, but yeah, he's just full of life. And I think he really you know those sort of teachers where you're like really not fit to be teaching, but at the same time you're glad they are because you have that amazing experience with them, whatever. This is one of those things. So I really like this movie. Number 5, I believe, and I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. Another great movie, up there with my favorites of all time. It's just it's just I really liked it a lot. So yeah, I'm enjoying this movie, and again, one of those movies I'm like, do you want to watch it? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's watch it. Let's watch this movie again. So tempted to during the summer. Right, next up, I feel like some of these are quite obvious, the ones I've mentioned so far. We might mention a few more obvious ones. Again, I'm more into those sort of light-hearted movies anyways. So if we have any of those going, I will definitely have a look at watching it. Popular on Netflix. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of these movies, to be honest. And I usually say, like, oh, I've seen everything on Netflix. I've seen everything I want to watch on Netflix. Stuff I don't want to watch might be popular, you know. I just don't want to watch it. So, I guess that's how it goes. This is really hard. Number 6. What's that movie there? Nah, I didn't really like that one. Okay, number 6, Pineapple Express. And the reason it's on this list, I'll go through the blurb first. You probably heard of it. From 2008, after witnessing a murder, a perpetually stoned process server and his good-natured dealer go on the run from a drug lord who's out to kill them. So, it's starring Seth Rogen and James Franco. These are great characters. Danny McBride is also amazing in this movie. I believe that's Danny McBride in the picture. I'm not too sure. But basically, it's this weird movie with like gangs involved and police and stuff, and it's just hilarious. On the run, these lads are, I guess, with the drugs. Who knows? And I really like this movie because it's so absurd, and there's this long scene where they're fighting to the main characters, and you like, it goes on, and it comes to the point of like hilariousness. The ultimate movie, I'd say, watching when you're stoned, because everything just hits better, and it's just a lot funnier. And I honestly think this is a great movie, for that reason. And it's probably the peak of their careers, Seth Rogen and James Franco. I'm not saying they went downhill from here, but this was definitely an amazing movie. There's a hold up and replayability, yeah, but some bits where I'm like, what? This is a bit stupid. Some bits I really like. Still a solid movie. I'd still give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Just because I think it doesn't hold up as well as some other movies on this list. It's probably not as strong, but again, for what it is, it hits the nail perfectly. It's not to be taken seriously. It's not to be like acclaimed movie. It's just a good movie. It's a good round of fun. You could imagine watching this with a few mates. So that's number 6 on this list. God, it's gonna be hard to find another good movie to put on this list because Netflix can sometimes be hard to find good movies. Yeah. Number 7 on this list. Okay, this one's a fairly popular one. It's called The Social Network. It's been on Netflix for years, and it's actually only available till the 13th of May, so maybe go give it a watch. It's by David Fincher. It's basically about the history of Facebook, from the CEO Mark Zuckerberg, from Harvard sophomore to internet superstar. So it's a strong movie. It's such a good premise because, again, another perfect casting. Jesse Eisenberg playing Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, it's perfect. Who else could you get to play this character, really? Definitely peak of his career. I can't believe this movie came out 2010, so 11 years ago. Just crazy stuff. Like, it doesn't feel like time is just flying by. And you wouldn't think it, really. But yeah, 11 years ago. It was only Facebook getting into its, basically before its prime, really. Because Facebook, I feel like for me, it was like 2013, 2014, 2015, when it was in its prime. Everyone was using it, even like earlier. But I guess since then it's kind of died off a little bit. But again, Instagram's become the main thing, owned by Facebook. So Facebook is still booming, really, if you think about it. And I guess that sort of wave really began to become mainstream around 2010. So this was a perfect timing for this movie. You could even make a sequel to this movie, but it wouldn't be as interesting. But yeah, just the whole startup internet. It's interesting to see these businesses starting up and just how simple idea can become revolutionary, really. And it's just filmed in a great way. It's probably not the most interesting subject matter in the world because it's like lawsuits and stuff, but the way they sort of handle it, the music, the filming is probably some of the best filming I've ever seen in a movie, editing, etc. Sorry, one sec. So yeah, the cinematics of it is just excellent, executed so excellently. I would say this is one of my favourite movies, just in terms of how it looks and all that and feels. And so I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. Again, sometimes you can drag a little bit, but hey, it's a dialogue heavy movie. It is what it is. That's number 7 on my list. Right. Looking for number 8. It's like I've run out of good movies here. No. Actually, I do have one here, number 7 on my list. I actually think it's a good movie. Just need to find it one sec. Here we go. This one's a fun one. Austin Powers, the second one, I believe. Spy. Yes, is it? Yes, Spy Shag Me. That's the movie. Not joking, lads. This one's a really fun one. Watch it with my mates. It's just a great time. It's not critically the best movie ever, but this one's hilarious. Criminal Dr. Evil goes back to the 1960s after stealing Austin Powers' magical charm, the Mojo, from which he derives his sexual prowess. Austin, along with Felicity, a CIA agent, follow him to retrieve it. So it's very much a sort of spoof movie on the 60s or whatever. In Britain, it's actually an American movie, I believe. But it's like, oh, we're in America. We're in Britain, you know? So I find it funny from that perspective. Mike Myers is great. Vern Troy's great. Seth Green is really funny in this movie. Lots of comedians, I guess. Funny actors. And the best part of this movie is the musical sequences and stuff like that. He's just a charismatic guy, Mike Myers, obviously from Shrek, I believe, as the voice of Shrek. But yeah, it's just a funny movie. Real raunchy, but again, a good time with mates, I guess, to watch this movie. It's never taken itself too seriously. Obviously, the guy who plays Dr. Evil is probably the best part of the movie. He's just amazing. Just find out who plays Dr. Evil. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm noticing lots of silences in this. Okay, fuck. Mike Myers plays him. Wow, I did not realize that. Yeah, I guess I was kind of assuming that, but it's kind of a mental thing. He plays the two main characters. But yeah, the best characters, and also Fat Bastard. So like the three best characters in this are played by Mike Myers. It just shows how great he is. He can pull it off and whatever. But fair play to him, because the two pretty much slap bang opposite characters, and he just pulls them off to excellence, really. And yeah, I just really love this movie. Not much bad about this movie either. So I'm really just enjoy this movie and give it a good rating of a 7 out of 10. Very good fun and great all around time. Alright, number 8 on this list. Don't know why I'm saying M the whole time. Sorry about that, people. You need to have a word besides M to say the whole time. Yeah, I can say instead of M. Yeah, see, I can't let myself saying it. Right. I need to stop. Need to pass the time, not what you call it. Okay, so there's lots of great movies. I need 3 more movies. Just give me 3 more movies. I will say this one's a Marvel one, pretty popular movie, and it's called Thor Ragnarok. I originally saw it as I think it was 2017, I want to say. But yeah, this is an amazing movie, amazing music. As a character, Thor from the Marvel Universe, 2017, deprived of his mighty hammer Mjolnir, Thor must escape the other side of the universe to save his home, Asgard, from Hela, the goddess of death. And it's just a really fun movie. It's a comedic movie directed by Taika Waititi, who's obviously a very comedic actor. Really popular movie, really good movie, really funny movie. And I love this movie a lot. Thor is in it, Hulk is in it, but he's hilarious. Yeah, it's a very fun movie. It's a top movie, lads. It's a top movie. Anthony Hopkins is in it for some reason, but it's amazing. Idris Elba does a little bit. He's not in it that much. But yeah, it's just a great, funny style. It's actually away from the usual Marvel style of comedy. It's very independent, but it's still amazing. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really. It's one of those movies that just it hits different. It hits different from some of the other Marvel movies, but it's so clever, so smart, and it doesn't take itself seriously. It really mocks the other movies at the start of the movie, so that's when you know it's going to be good. yeah, not more to say about this movie. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Right. Need 2 more on this list. And then I could be like, yeah. Okay, this is one that came out recently-ish. And it's called Rocket Man. It came out in 2019. It's basically a life story of Elton John. In rehab, pop star Elton John looks back at his humble origins, timeless songs, and heady moments of inspiration in excess based on his true story. Obviously, this guy had a crazy career, very highs and lows. Obviously, he's a gay man. He's also a drug-fueled man. And he had a great sort of success. I mean, if you look back at it, Elton John had such stardom and such fame. It was just like he could do whatever he wanted, and it's not straying away from all that. Also, it takes all that musical stuff and does it really excellently with musical sequences, music videos, and yeah, I just really like the way it handles it. I think it's a really solid movie. I love the songs. That probably helps. Some of the songs, anyways. I'm not the biggest Elton John fan in the world, but this made me really like him. And Taron Egerton, good casting. Very charismatic, but dry, wit, like a British person usually has. Not saying all British people have to, but yeah, I really like that. And I actually believe this might be better than the other one, which was a lot more famous, I think. And it was the other one that was Bohemian Rhapsody. I think this is better than Bohemian Rhapsody. No offense, lads. So that's number 9. One more on this list. What is he going to say? So, yeah, there is one more movie to mention, I guess. What am I going to say? Imagine I just don't come up with a 10th movie for this list. That would be sort of awkward in a way, wouldn't it? Still looking. Okay, just pure silence. It's like I'm in a library. Okay, this movie's good. It's called Spirited Away from 2001, and it is a anime movie, sort of. Studio Ghibli. Chihiro, I can't pronounce that. Chihiro wanders into a magical world that a witch rules, and those who disobey her are turned into animals. So basically, it's a fantasy world from a real world. This little young girl, she's with her family, and she just wanders off, and suddenly there's all these monsters and stuff, and she's trying to get back home. I think her parents get turned into pigs or something along the way. And yeah, just this weird adventure from the mind of it's Japanese, so it's out there a little bit, not to be racist or whatever, anything, but it is out there, and I really like it because it's very mystical. The animation is great, the music is amazing. The music is probably the best thing about this movie. It's just so, what's the word, melancholy would be the right word. And yeah, I just think it's a really good journey this movie takes you on. I would honestly say, for me, it's probably a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't watch it often because it's a bit sad, but I think good messages in it. It's just a downright good movie. If you're a kid and you haven't seen this, you're missing out, I think. Yeah, I really rate this movie a good bit. So that's my list of 10 movies. I will do 10 TV shows, and I'll get them pretty quickly. First of all, Breaking Bad. I've mentioned this time and time again. Great TV show. I don't even want to get into it, because everyone's probably seen it. I already have a Los Pollos Hermanos beer mug, so mat, what do you call them? Cup mats, in my house right now that I use in my room. Use it the whole time. Great. Yeah, Gus Fring, great. As I said already, Skyler White, Walter White, amazing. I think most people pull off their characters really well. Somewhat annoying are the other characters, like the sister of Skyler, a bit annoying. Hank is great, can sometimes be annoying, but he's good. Then the other police guy is a bit annoying, and the son of Walter is a bit annoying, but like at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but they need to be, don't they? Because they kind of play off the other characters, make you like them, I guess, make you more interested in them, in their story. So it's always making you think what's good, what's bad. Obviously, you know what's bad, but at the same time, you're like, oh, Walter's, I know he's an evil man, but at the same time, you can kind of see sometimes where he started off and how he went down his path. It's completely not relatable, but understandable in a weird way. And it kind of kills you to think that, this guy could have gone down a different path. And it's always showing you how there's this other side of where he could have gone. You know, it's like these different choices he made that ultimately led him down that path. And yeah, it can be quite depressing, but also sort of very interesting and intriguing. So a great movie, or a great TV show even. There's also El Camino. Wasn't that good, I didn't really like that. But I'll give this show a 9.5, just amazing. Not quite a perfection, but this one I have here is probably near enough perfection. The Office US, apart from the last couple of seasons, this one's probably a 10 out of 10. That has to be brought down to like a 9.5 because of the last few seasons. But this show, for its first 4 or 5 seasons, is just stellar, excellent. You all know what it is. It's Steve Carell's take on Ricky Gervais's. Well, it's not his take, but it's his version of The Office's main character, Michael Scott. So I think it was what is it in the original Office? Dave Brent. So yeah, it's his take on it. It's very funny, very comedic. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's really heartwarming, really good movie to put you in a good mood. This is, and honestly, great for that reason. So I really like it. What else to say about this TV show that hasn't been said again? I love Dwight. I love Creed. I love him. I love his story. His little cameos, his little moments. Who else do I really like? I really like who's Mike's love interest? Not Pam, obviously not. I like Jim is great. I think he's one of the best characters in it. What's her name? The boss that like Michael used to be married to. She's great. She does a great job. So yeah, but there's some great extras in the movie. They just chose the characters well. The cameos, whoever they brought in, the story, the writing, it's amazing. I heard that they spent like 16 or 17 hours in a day in the writer's room making this one. So like that's fucking dedication. That is fucking bang on. Like that is amazing that they actually do that. And yeah, so that for that reason it's just like wow, respect. You have to respect that. You can't not respect that. But yeah, so that obviously goes on the list. That's number 2. Number 3, best TV shows ever. I'm watching currently The Peep Show, which is this Robert Webb and Dave Mitchell, who have their own comedy. They used to be like a comedy. They still are this comedy duo, and they were like writing a good bit before this and performing. And this was sort of like their big break because it was a TV show with a very interesting premise because it was shot in a first-person perspective. So you really get an intimate look at these two characters' lives as they live in an apartment together, looking for love, working, and sort of solving other issues in their lives. But I think it's a great TV show because it spans on and it's never not interesting. And the character they bring in, especially what's his name? Johnson. It's great. He's amazing. He's probably the best one of the cameo characters I've ever seen, or like side characters. But man, he is amazing. He just sort of takes over, gravitates to the screen. Yeah, but it's these lads' lives, and it's just a British show. It's very funny, very comedic. Yeah, it doesn't ever take itself too seriously. Dry humor, dry wit, but yeah, I just really like it. I think it's amazing. So this is honestly a great show. Yeah, that's number 3. Number 4, in terms of greatest shows ever, I would say, I don't know if a lot of you heard this one. It's called Hardy Book's an Irish show showing these young lads in the west of Ireland who are sort of down and out, who drink, smoke, whatever, walk around the town, trying to look for work, trying to get their big breaks and go on holidays. It's relatable. We're all being there. Need a bit of money, need a bit of work to go abroad. And they're just the funniest people ever. Lots of funny, extras, side characters in the show who just sort of all play along with the whole, premise. And the best part about this is they're all friends in real life and they're just their own adventures. So it makes it so authentic, so funny. And like there's even a scene where one of the characters is not even part of the episode they're filming. He just walks out of the bookies and he's just like, oh, right, I didn't even notice they're filming. Might as well just take this shot or take this scene and just use it for the TV show. So it's funny as like, so there's a good mix of like scripted moments and unscripted moments in the show. It spawned a lot of TV show movies and it's just a great rewatchable one. So quotable, especially in my school. Like you can just remember all the lines really, and like there's nothing like it really out there nowadays for Ireland. Anyways, like the quality of TV shows since Father Ted and this has dipped quite a big bit, and I feel like I look back at this and go, "Whoa, RT really don't like this show," but I don't know why. It's like maybe it's not public widespread appeal, but for the audience that it grasped. Really, really good. I think it was even trending on Netflix at some stage. It's on Netflix anyway, so give it a watch. It's kind of like if you're in America, Trailer Park Boys. It's sort of like the Irish version of that anyway. So that's number 4. I didn't rate this one. I would give it an 8.5, and I gave the previous one, Peep Show, I'd give it an 8.5 as well. So, number 5 on this list, greatest TV shows ever, Top Gear. Top Gear is a British show. It's been around for years and years. Again, the main cast I'm talking about with Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, not the new cast. And of course, these lads are hilarious, freaking hilarious, especially the challenges where they just go on. They drive around cars basically all day, and it's not really about the cars, it's so much the characters, and then they're winding each other up, and going on holidays and sort of racing, blowing stuff up. Very high production value, very edited very well, very funny, like something that will happen. Like, so it's clearly scripted, but they just mix in the real moments as well with it. So it always has that feeling of like authenticity, compared to like a completely scripted show where you're like, okay, come on. And that's why I think there's a pattern in a lot of these shows. It's like there's a lot of realism, a lot of relatability in them, but they don't stray too far from reality. But they're also very sort of out there and also feel good and, you know, not too bad like to watch anyways, if you're, you know, not in a good mood. So that's number 5. So I give this show an 8 out of 10. There's a lot of moments where I'm like, this could probably be better, but yeah, it's also a great show. Number 6, Red Dwarf. Red Dwarf is a show I've been watching for years and years. Why do I like this show so much? Well, basically, it's a sci-fi comedy British show, and it is really out there, really absurd. I used to watch a lot more back in the day, but it's still great. I'd still rate it a lot because I think what this show has is, well, it might be the funniest show ever, if I'm being honest. It's very, the thing I like about it is it's so creative. Like, it takes concepts that other shows wouldn't even be nearly as ballsy to do, and just goes with them, just goes with the flow. Like, for instance, it might go do an episode inside VR. It might go, I don't know, to space. It's set in space. It might do some like episode with like this random alien on board the ship that can shapeshift, you know, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Why are you doing this? That would like not be really acceptable since, you know, Star Trek did this. But yeah, it took the risk. It took so long to get on screen for this reason, because it's so not really mainstream at all. But yeah, I really think the show stood up because it's lasted for 12 or 13 seasons. It even got a movie. So it's a really, really solid show in my opinion. And it's still on today, so that just shows you really that it's a quality show. And that's number 6, and I'll give that one an 8.5 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. Number 7 on my list of shows. Hold on one sec. I just clicked on something by accident. Number 7, greatest TV shows of all time. Well, my favorite TV shows, not in any particular order. Yeah, I'm really trying to look here. I was scraping the bottom of the barrel here. It's just sort of hard to, because I have bad memories, so it's hard to like recall great shows. This one, number 7, is Black Mirror. This show is a British show about these sort of dystopian futures where technology takes over in very bad ways and goes wrong. I like the show because it's so, it starts off normal and then it just throws itself into craziness, but also has the air of realism about it. Like, this stuff nearly could happen. It's stuff that's already taken over at the moment, like phones, digital devices, like little robots, that sort of thing, really. Yeah, it's sort of declined in quality a little bit since its initial 3 seasons, two or 3 seasons. But yeah, I still think it's a great show, really rewatchable, dark, gritty, and also I just think some of the actors in here are quality. They don't really repeat the actors, which is kind of cool because you get a new fresh start every episode. So it's kind of like little mini movies, nearly. But I like the darkness. I like the twists are a bit great, and I like some of the characters. So I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. Number 8 on my list. 3 more to go. Let's see one here that I like. Yeah, Father Ted. Why not? Father Ted. Father Ted is an old Irish show. It's about these priests on an island, and it's all the mishaps they get up to, and it's sort of a play on like Irish culture at the time, and even till today. Ireland is typically a very sort of conservative country, so there's a lot of that sort of joking in there. And it didn't run longer than it needed to. 3 seasons. Unfortunately, the main actor died, which is really sad, but it's still a great show. Father Jack's amazing. Father Ted's amazing. Father Dougal's amazing. Miss Doyle, like, I couldn't even name a bad actor in this. They're all just hitting the nail on the head. Probably the best show Ireland has ever produced. And it's just these really, so the best thing about this movie is it plays on the whole church idea, because it's meant to be these like religious priests, but they really aren't caring too much about the religion, and they're only caring about their self-interest. So it's just funny how these people can get by in society or whatever. And yeah, I just really think it's a good show because it's so in your face, like making fun, parodying the current like place and society and the church, and then you're just like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is what we need. Parodying is great. Just taking the piss really sometimes. So 2 more shows I have to think of on this list. Yeah, this is quite a hard list to make. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'd say Doctor Who. Why not? Mainly because it's a show I watched a lot as a kid. It's a British show, sci-fi show, just like, you know, Red Dwarf or Star Trek in a way, but sort of different. It's been around for 60 years, and basically what it is a show about this guy, a Time Lord, or a woman, who regenerates over time. He turns into different characters, and basically what he does is he flies around space with a random person, a normal person from Earth, as their companion, and basically what happens is they just fight off aliens in every episode who are trying to destroy the Earth. So it's a very simple premise, but it's kind of out there. But yeah, it's always been a real fun show for me watching as a kid. Not so much nowadays, but I think it's just a really good creative show. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. That's the thing about it. You don't know if it's going to be amazing or shite at the same time, so you just got to watch out for the good moments, the bad moments, the in-between moments. And there's been some really memorable moments, some really scary monsters. That's the main thing that I remember from the show. Just like getting absolutely, not shit in the bed, but like freaked out by some people have on it. The Doctors range from obviously good to bad as well. One thing I'd say is the special effects aren't very good, but apart from that, they do get creative because the budgets usually aren't that high for these shows. But anyways, I still think it's a quality show. It's one you should watch, especially if you're a younger age, I think. But even looking back, nostalgia, whatever, being what it is, it can be quality just from like a fun, like, isn't this good perspective. Because, you know, Star Trek isn't even like the most quality show ever, like in terms of some of the production values. It's like similar to that, like less production value than, say, a Star Wars or whatever. But it's still just real good fun, and I really like it. So that's number 9, I believe. So one more TV show to talk about, and let's have a look. Modern Family. Modern Family is another great show because, what did I give this out of 10? I give it a 7.5. Modern Family is a show I also watched a lot as a kid, and basically what it is these 3 different families who are all linked through whatever, either, you know, birth or whatever, son's father. So there's basically with the 3 couples. One is like a regular sort of normal family, you know, man, woman. There's also a gay family, which is the brother and sister of the man. Brother and sister, who, you know, one's sister is married to a man, and then the brother is married, he's gay, and then the sister and brother's father is divorced from his wife and married to a younger woman. So, and she's from Colombia, so it's a really unorthodox family. But it's really funny because you got such different characters that they play off each other well. My favourite is Jay, who's the old lad, and also the Phil Dunphy, who is the father, or the son of him, of his son-in-law, and then also one of the gay guys called Cam. He's great. So I really like the show because there's a lot of characters that just push along and make it interesting. It's the odd characters, the funny characters, over the top characters, the over the top moments that the show creates, because there's like a couple of straight characters here who just are like, whatever, you know, don't take any shit, whatever, and just sort of the other characters sort of play off that, but being the exact opposite, more exuberant or whatever. So I really like that show. I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. So here's my list, my top 10 best TV shows, best movies, and just getting more flavour of what I'm into. So yeah, I think that'll be it for this podcast. I think there'll be more free time for me watching. Currently busy with like college work and all, so I'm probably not watching as much as I would be. But yeah, I guess that's shit I've been interested in recently anyways. So I guess that's it for my list. You know, I should advise you guys to watch these things if you have the time. If you don't, like, just believe me, they're good, in my opinion. Obviously, these aren't like the greatest, like, IMDb top rated shows of all time, but they're definitely ones that I've just enjoyed the most through the years, either by nostalgia or just per quality, or just put me in a great mood. That's what you want, the emotions, the feelings of watching these great shows, great movies, and it puts you in a great place. So it's nothing like it, really, especially during summer when you're bored out of your mind or whatever, COVID or whatever. So yeah, without further ado, without all that sort of talk, there you go, there's my list. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Good luck, guys. Enjoy.